Fear the greed of men, for they slay their peers and dread parity. They rise above their kin with force, and driven by the greed for power, they break alliances and risk the peace their fathers earned through sacrifice. Temeri was a city of free men, and home to enlightened scholars, led by wise people and protected by brave soldiers. Many cities in this world followed the example of Temeri, but not the ones united under the banner of the League of Erica. Their army was to be feared, but their purpose was not noble, for the will to rule others is not to be admired. Temeri was put under siege day and night, in a cowardly hold from north and south alike. Against the united forces of Erica, Ituno and Laristo, Temeri was not to last for long. Among the brave soldiers of the army of Temeri, there was a captain. He was the firstborn of the dean of the city, but all of his fame and merits were earned on the battlefield, not by privilege. While leading the counter-offensive, he got severely injured, and his loyal troops brought him to his father. Life was quickly escaping the captain's flesh, and the dean found no other hope to save his son and the city than to seek for a miracle. Tall stood Mount Banto, south of Temeri, home to a mysterious being that lived here long before man. Son of Mother Earth, it had limbs of branches and thorns, a body of soil, and a hearth of mud. Ftono was the name bestowed to it by the first ones who settled in the land, the same men that built a temple for it to inhabit, to flatter its pride and to confine it in hermitage. The burden of immortality would overwhelm any soul, and so, to entertain itself, to any man who would take heart and offer a gift, Ftono used to grant wishes, only to twist them with malice. The dean gathered the soldiers most loyal to his son, and in the blackest night, they fled through a hidden passage that escaped the watchful eyes of the besiegers. With heavy steps, they climbed Mount Banto, carrying the dying captain, and with him the last hope of the dean. Upon entering the temple of Ftono, their limbs froze, and their breath got stolen, for they knew they were at the mercy of a whimsical scourge. Desperate, the dean thus spoke.
Hear me, godlike Ftono, lord of Mount Banto, and favorite son of Mother Earth. It is not for greed that I come to you, but to save my good son and the pious city of Temeri, which always honored and respected you. I bring you my gift, and I humbly enter your home, asking for 3 wishes.
Pleased and amused, Ftono replied.
You honor me, Dean of Temeri. Your son is indeed a valiant man. If his old father and his men risked their lives to bring him to me. And you are a worthy dean, so concerned with your city's fate. So tell me your wishes, and I shall grant them.
You have my gratitude, great Ftono. My first wish is to save my young son from his fatal wounds, so he can live a long life and die as an old man, safe in his home and surrounded by his loved ones.
Your wish is granted, O Dean. Your son is safe, his wounds are healed, and he shall live a long life. But it will be a life without sight, devoid of taste, bereft of touch, bereft of smell, and deaf to the world.
Angered at heart, the wise dean curbed his sorrow and chopped his fighting words, knowing too well that the malicious Ftono would have exacted a price for every one of his bestowals. He stared at his son silently, while Ftono's powers nursed him back to life, and condemned him to eternal seclusion, prisoner in his own body, like a caterpillar in a chrysalis that will never hatch. Then, the dean found the composure to speak once again.
My second wish is to ward off the besiegers, and to save Temeri, so we can keep living as free men amongst free men.
Your wish is once again granted, Odin. My powers will write your forms, and will lead the great city of Temeri to victory. As the sun approaches the eastern sky, the armies are moving their attack against your high walls from south and north. Walk out on my temple, and from there you will see how I will keep my promise.
Greatly troubled, the Dean hied out of the temple, and from the top of Mount Banto, he could see the valley and the armies attacking. With the rumble of an earthquake, the ground disrupted, as the branches of Etono emerged like roots from the depths of the earth, and diverted the mighty river. The billows ran over the attackers, taking the lives of many warriors, breaking the formidable formation. The brave soldiers of Temeri took advantage of the turn of events, and broke out to fight off the enemies, leading to a glorious victory over the overbearing invaders. But as the waters of the diverted river wet the grounds, the Dean understood the direful price of his wish. No water would now quench the thirst of the citizens of Temeri, no stream would float their beautiful boats towards the great sea. Hereafter, Temeri was to fight terrible battles for its freedom, and yet it would have been more vulnerable than ever. Out of anger, feeling defrauded and humiliated, the Dean once again stood before Etono.
Your second wish was granted, O wise Dean. I shall wait for your third and last one.
Fury blinded the old Dean, for now he was but a father and a betrayed man.
Very well, mighty Etono, ruler of the forces of nature. Then I will speak my heart and take advantage of your generosity. I wish for your temple to be destroyed, such as you destroyed all that I hold dear.
Etono the sly-minded stood in silence, his composure unbroken, and spoke with the calmest voice.
As you wish.
The temple rumbled, as Etono's thorns broke down the walls and shattered the pillars that held the roof. As the ruins of the temple fell upon the heads of the Dean, his son and his loyal soldiers, the only feeling stronger than the old man's anger was his regret.